welcome back, friends.
I like the non-intro.
Yeah, I was going to write welcome back, but then I have to erase it, and that's hard. We are going to do a story time today.
Yes.
So some of you have heard snippets of this story. This is the story about how Chris tried to die.
Yes. I'm writing down which side is which so that people know which story is which.
And then I'll be over here.
Yeah.
In the red because I'm dramatic.
Okay. So yeah, it's not just the story of how I tried to die.
No, it's the story of how you tried to die in the midst of me receiving a new diagnosis of... Wait, we're going to write it this way. Ready?
The most inopportune time. Trigeminal neuralgia. AL.
Trigeminal neuralgia. Today. Don't do that. It's a bad idea. Nobody likes it.
Yeah, so this is her discovering her new trick.
Yes.
While I decided to go on
try to hop off the planet.
Yeah.
Like a maniac. He was like, peace out. And I was like, wait, where did you go? I am melting down. So this whole story, I have to start this because this all started with
the toothache.
It was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
If you watched the Sunday episode with Yeti, actually. So this was the Yeti episode, and we were shooting my weekly recap. So in our Yeti episode, I had my weekly recap, and I was like, ow, teeth.
I like that's a tooth. Yeah, teeth. Oh, teeth.
Ow, teeth. That's not teeth, but you know what I mean. I don't know how to draw teeth.
Good enough.
I do know how to draw teeth. Ready? And it's angry.
Angry tooth.
And I was like, ow, my mouth.
My possible tooth.
Oh, no. And then so we shot on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Come Monday, we found out not a tooth.
Wrong.
Just wrong. Incorrect, ma'am. Lies. Not a tooth. So I had emailed my doctor on Sunday because I was in so much pain. My face was in just horrible, horrible bad times.
Yeah.
But I did the hot cold tests. So I had done hot cold in my mouth and no avail, which was weird. So I was like, not tooth. Emailed my doctor, typed that up real nice and sent that off. Received a reply on Monday, and she goes, that sounds like trigeminal neuralgia. You need to go to urgent care. And I was like, awesome.
Interesting thing, though, so you had already discovered that diagnosis beforehand.
Yes.
You had already, like, a week or two before figured out that was a thing.
Yep.
It wasn't, like, brand new to
like,
you.
Because I had it in the back of my head. I was like, maybe this is what's happening, but that's pretty dramatic. Don't want to go there on my own.
Yeah.
And so I don't think I went that night. I think I went, was it Tuesday night that I went? Yeah, because I came home and I ate dinner and I was like, I'm tired. I'm not going right now. They emailed me way too late. I'm going to go to bed.
Right.
So I went to bed. I got up. I went to work. And then I went to the urgent care. So I went to the urgent care and they were like, sucks, buddy. No ear infection.
Well, yeah, they did the generic, and then they felt bad.
Yeah. They were like, I'm super sorry. We can't help you. That is way out of our league. And so that's where we left off. And so I texted you that night, and it was like, I don't know, 8 p.m.-ish.
Yeah.
So like 8 p.m.-ish, texted you and said, I think I said like urgent care confirmed it.
Yep.
And the last words I wrote were trigeminal neuralgia. This is important for the rest of the story.
It really is.
And this is where my story goes on pause.
Yep. That's exactly where your story goes on pause. So my day was Rory's birthday. Yay.
It was happy, good times.
And so I was doing what I normally do to prep. I was going to take a nap. I was like, I'm going to sleep and then be ready for the day. It'll be great. Yay, hooray, everybody. So I took a nap.
It was a very weird nap.
It was the beginnings of a weird nap, right? Because I woke up and I was coherent enough to go, nah, bro, I'm not getting up now. That's not happening.
Yep.
I'm going to continue disease. I'm going to continue disease because I don't feel great. I was running a temperature, like a really bad temperature. You know?
Yep.
Like.
Out the top. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
bad
very
news
bad.
Bears.
And so I was like, I'll just continue taking my nap. No biggie. I woke up around 8 because I got a text message. This is the best part, is that I saw the text message. I was like, what's this? On my phone. I was like, Trigeminal Neuralgia? It didn't look like this on the phone. I swear. It didn't take up my whole thing.
Really big text on his phone. He's blind, actually.
So I was like,
about
boop, 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 boop. I was like, oh. Okay. That sucks. And I went to respond. I kid you not. I was like, I'm gonna put my thumb on the phone, and then nothing.
Yeah. And at this point I thought that you had
Fade
just
to
gone
black.
to sleep. I was like, oh, he must be sleeping. We don't disturb him when he's sleeping. We let the sleep flow into the universe. And so I was like, I have feelings. And I don't really know what to do with these feelings. And then one of my little dudes was like crying uncontrollably because I don't know. He's just like, Well, I had feelings and I was like, I don't know what to do with this.
And I don't normally just duck out of a conversation.
Right.
That
So
was
like,
really weird.
He's got to be sleeping. And so then I was like, cool, I'm going to be sleeping. And so I went to bed.
And that's where the fun begins.
Yes. And so do I tell this part? Because you weren't aware for... Oh, no, tell the parts you are aware for.
Exactly. I'll have you kind of interpret it, what was actually going on. Because for
my
me...
My story picks up around 6 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, I was in some weird fever dreams. Like, this wasn't the worst of it yet. So these were just like crazy, hazy, weird, intense fever dreams above my sleeping little head. I get little X's because I'm almost dead. Not doing great. Z. Anyways. And it's just foggy nightmare bullcrap. Right? Trees and a monster. Rawr. Who knows? It could have been anything. That's my neck. And then I'm awoken at about 4 o'clock. So let's put 4 on the clock. 4 o'clock in the AM. Jem has come to bed. Jen has done her things. She's ready to go to bed. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting up in bed. This is very important. Sitting up in bed.
Big eyes.
Yeah. My eyes were wide open. I was not awake. I was asleep. And she was trying to get my attention. So she's like snapping in front of my face. She's like touching me. She's like, shake, shake. Shake, shake. Nothing. Right? Until finally I was able to get out. Like, from my perspective, I saw her for a second in bed.
Through the hazy crazy. And was like, ooh, okay, Jen, I'm scared. I said it like 5 times in the dream. I was like, I'm scared. I need you to wake me up. I'm scared. This isn't right. Something's wrong. And so all I managed to get out was, I scared. Right? So like I'm sitting here and I'm like big wide eyes. And then all of a sudden, I scared. Which isn't something I would normally say. Right.
So Jen freaks out in the greatest ways. Like she goes into panic mode.
Yep.
She knows what to do. She's on it.
Panic.
Right. So she gets me dressed somehow. She's like, we're going to the ER. And for me, it was just random bits. Again, it was like throwing on some clothes. I kind of remember my clothes. I kind of don't. I remember going down the stairs very carefully.
On your bottom, too.
Yeah. I slid. I was like, boop, ba-doop, ba-doop, ba-doop for each step.
Yep.
And then sitting in a chair at the bottom of the stairs and waiting for Jen to finish getting ready. And like bobbing in and out of consciousness. Like I could not stay awake.
Yep.
And then the next big event for me was trying to go out the front door. After we got out the door, we have like a sidewalk. And I decided to jump off the edge of the sidewalk right here where the yard begins. And I went face first. So I'm like, walk, boop, time to fall. But my reflexes kicked in. Like I have sword fighter instincts. So I tucked my head and I rolled down to here where the tree almost is. The tree is here. And I landed about here next to where our car was. And I was very confused. I was like, what? What's going on? More confused than I was, because last thing I remember, I was on a sidewalk and then all of a sudden I'm dirty and I hurt and I'm dizzy. Like, that was weird.
He jumped off. He was just like, bye.
Yeah. And then I got into the car. And then for the most part, it was just car adventure. You know, me in and out, Jen trying to stay calm, putting on music that calms her. Really baller moves, really, if you think about it.
Yep.
Keeping herself in sanity so that I could be insane.
Yep.
I was really impressed with her the whole time. Even while it was happening, I remember thinking, like, wow, she's got this.
She's
like,
got it. We don't have to worry. Yeah.
I don't know how to draw the ER. This is going to be a pain in the butt. But, well, okay, now you can draw what was actually really going on.
Yeah. So I'm going to pull it. I'm going to pull it up so that we have, like, accuracy here. So that morning, I get up to go to work, and I'm like, my face hurts. Oh, my God. Nothing is helping. I hate everything. This is awful. And then I look at my phone. So this is like 6 o'clock in the morning. No.
Not 9.
No. Wrong. 6 a.m. And I wake up, and I look at my phone. And on my phone is this, like, insane message where she's like, I'm at the ER with Chris. Memory issues. Large and small twitchy movements. Confusion. He's having trouble remembering things. Like the month and the year. So this is where I got, like, freaked out. Because I was like, that doesn't seem right to me. What is going on here?
Yeah.
Why? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to get ready for work, and I keep getting these messages. So that she texted me that at about 5:30. So I was only about a half hour behind the times as they sat right there and then.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like getting ready for work, and I'm freaking out internally because I'm like, that's super not good if he's not remembering things. And as I'm like going through my morning, I was late to work that morning. I was not having a good time. And then by it was like 7:51 is when they decided that you had big fat P pneumonia.
Wow. See, and even now I'm learning things.
But the best part was before this. So they were talking about, and this is the point where I responded.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what is going on? So by this point, there were like 6 or 7 text messages. And we had no idea what was going on. But they were like, it's pneumonia. Woo. The doc just came in. And at one point in time, they decided to give him Narcan.
Yep.
Because, yeah, you know, when you have pneumonia, it's a good idea to try to anti-drug people. I don't know.
It was a good way to spend time.
Yeah. And money that they didn't have. But this is, you know, the ER, where they are just a little bit jaded.
Just a bit.
Just a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was bad. And keep in mind too, because we found out that this was pneumonia. at that point. But it was actually pneumonia with a little
with
buddy.
a twist.
It was pneumonia with sepsis,
Yep.
meaning my body was shutting down. Like my kidneys had already shut down. So time is kind of an important factor here.
So we had like angry, crazy sepsis spikes coming out of the walls.
Yeah.
And we didn't learn that. Let me see when they decided it was sepsis. Yeah, so based on the fact that he was improving on the antibiotics, they thought it was sepsis. And this was at 8:40 in the morning. So all of this was taking place while I was
On your way to
on
work?
my way to work. And so I'm like checking my phone manically, trying to figure out like what's going on. And this is where we were. So throughout the day, I get like little updates here and there about being moved into the, you did leave the ER at one point, which was good because they wanted to give you Narcan instead of, treating you for other things. But they moved you into the ICU. And I was like, this is really bad. Ooh. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
This could be really bad. So when they moved you into the ICU, I was like, okay, he's going to get care. It's going to be okay. But I was like freaked out the whole day. Yeah, so I was like getting little updates throughout the day. And then you kind of came back into play right around this point when I got to you.
Yeah. Like, I have some anecdotes.
Yes, go
So,
for it.
okay, so this is NSFW alarms. If you don't want to hear about graphic, horrible medical stuff, fast forward, and I'll bring down the warning. It's going to be up here. NSFW. Not safe for work. Not safe for life. Because several things happened to me that I got to remember.
Oh, yeah.
that I get to remember.
Yep.
I don't remember much, but I remember these things. So, first off, I get checked in, and I remember everyone rushing around. There was a big kerfuffle about taking my shoes off, which is funny to me because they just slide off.
Yep.
They just they were tied in that way that you could just slide them on and put them on. It's not a big deal, but they untied it all the way down to the last lace. So you have your shoelaces, boop, 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 and it was down here. Like, why, guys? Well, it could have come off here or here or here or here. No, all the way down to the bottom on both of my shoes, making exiting real fun.
Yep. All the while, they're talking about you'll be in the ICU for at least a full day. And I was like, that is crazy. And I don't really think it's going to be a day. I'm pretty sure it's going to be longer than that. Because I was like, this all does not sound good.
Yeah, no.
This sounds still pretty bad.
Yeah.
And then later that day, because I'm still in my like trigeminal neuralgia shock.
Mm-hmm.
I'm over here trying to figure this nonsense out, and I was like, okay, I know what it is, but holy moly, does that hurt? So I'm like, eyes squeezed totally shut, just and crying, and it was not good. And I think I called my husband at one point in the day, and I was like, help. I need a buddy. And he talked me through lunch and was like, dude, bro, you're going through a lot of stuff. Lots of things are happening right now. You probably need to like go home. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'll go home. Maybe all of this is worth going home. Because my face hurt really bad. And it's like the whole left side of my face.
It's an understatement. Like,
horrible. There's no way
it
to
hurt
describe
bad
it.
is not like.
I'll get to some descriptors of the pain after we get through the bulk of the story.
Yeah.
But at that point, I was like, okay, I'm leaving work. Yeah, I'm done. But I was texting Jen, and Jen had been there literally all day. So
Oh wait, let me do the NSFW stuff.
Oh yeah,
first,
yeah.
So that I can remove the alarm, so people don't.
Oh yes.
Get left behind. So
this just sucks. I'm so sorry.
this story, while getting placed into the ICU, they needed a urine sample. And I didn't know that because I couldn't stay awake long enough for them to tell me that, right? Like they would be like, "Oh, I need a urine sample. Can you do it?" And I was like, "Sure, whatever," because I'm just agreeable.
And then he went back to sleep.
Right. Until they finally were like, "Okay, so he's not going to be able to get up and do it. Let's give him one of those jugs." And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I can do that." And again, I just couldn't focus. So I'm trying to use this jug, but at the same time, there are 5 women in this room, 5 nurses that aren't Jen.
Being weird.
Jen's trying to help, like, but they're like, there's 2 stationed at the door, 2 behind me, like watching, making sure that Jen does it right, and then like 2 holding up a blanket, like as I'm laying in this bed. And I'm like, I'm not shy, guys. I don't give a shit. Just let me use the restroom.
You're making me feel weird, though.
Right, exactly. Since it was this whole ordeal, I was very distracted, and I don't have an attention span at this point. So I'm just like, what the? Okay, oh, like every 5 seconds, I'm just trying to piece it together. So they had to put in the almighty catheter tube, which one of them was not ready for. And that was the one that opted to do it. So we had one expert apparently on catheters, right? And she was not there. She was watching. She was like, "I'm going to watch from the corners because I'm a creep." I remember her very specifically watching from the corner and being like, "Why aren't you here doing this?" Anyways. And then we had one noob. Noob tried 5 times. And we're talking full insertions, time M's, 5 times. All the way in, couldn't get the balloon inflated, had to rip it back out. 5 times.
Which, by the way, is a form of torture used throughout history.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
I definitely have PTSD from that. Like, I keep waking up, imagining the pain of it. Like, oh, that was, ooh. And they never got it right. So she tried 5 times, and then the expert did it 1 time and was fine.
Yep.
Perfectly easy, like, it took 30 seconds. And I was doing all the right things. I was doing like the Lamaze breathing. I was relaxing. I was breathing in with them and exhaling with them. And like, I was on it for what it was. Like, I'm not new to the experience.
Yeah.
I know how to handle myself. But I got to do that many times. And then I got sent up to the ICU.
Yep.
And then after that, I'm not aware of anything until you appear.
So this is not what this clock says. I'm sorry. But at 2 p.m., they confirmed the sepsis.
Yeah.
Confirmed.
IED? Yeah. I need to get a thumbs up. There we go.
So sepsis confirmed at 2 p.m. And that was when they decided to, they were just like, we're just going to do a lot of tests and keep pumping you full of antibiotics. Tons and tons and tons and tons of nice IV bag antibiotics. Right? And this is hanging over here.
I was quite happy about that.
Yeah.
I was like, give me more, please. I'll take more.
They were just pumping him full of antibiotics. And at one point in time, I was like, you know what? I am done at work. That's what's happening. We're finished. And hubby was like, we need to order some comfort food. And I was like, heck yeah, that sounds awesome. Because I've had a horrible day. And I also felt really bad because I was like, my face hurts. And you were trying to die. So I'm like,
right.
Ow.
Well, isn't that fun? Like the internal comparative suffering. You're like, I have nothing to complain about. Then, I'm not dying.
Exactly.
It's like,
and then also super worried.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that's my brother. Oh no. And at one point, one of my coworkers was like, which brother? And I was like, broski, that's my whole anchor to the universe. Like, I don't know. It's sloppy as all heck, but you know what I mean. It's an anchor. It's chilling there. It's holding stuff down. None of these pens are working very well for very long, but we're gonna push through. And so then Jen was like, they moved us up. We're all good. I might try to sneak out for a little while to get some stuff. And I was like, I could help with that. I could bring you stuff. And she was like, oh my God, that would be super helpful. yes, please.
Yeah.
And so I go to your house.
Oh, I skipped the Narcan bit, like
Oh,
from my point of view, but it's fine.
I was livid, by the way. When Jen told me they Narcaned you, I was like...
That the Narcan
so
is the
mad.
reason she didn't want to leave the hospital.
Yeah.
Is because
they were crazy people.
Right. They were doing stuff that was wasting time, even though she specifically could tell them, matter of factual, that I had not OD'd on anything.
Yeah. Because at this point, they thought that you had like a stroke.
Yeah. Because I was acting like it.
Jen thought you had a stroke.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, she was like, that would be amazing, so I don't have to leave the hospital. And so I went there, and I saw our grandfather.
Yeah.
And I had to explain to him not only that I was in the loop.
Yeah.
Like that. Oh. So I'm in the loop. But also that I now have
a new trick.
Yeah, I have. I'm like, what? What is it called? Trigeminal neuralgia. Fun new trick. And he was like, let me write it down and talk to my guy. Because he was like, I know tooth people. And I was like, it's not really a tooth thing. But, okay. And so that was fun. And then from there, I left and I went to the hospital. And I was not expecting you to be anywhere close to awake. I was like, I'm going to go and support my sister and make sure that she's okay. Because that was scary.
Yeah.
That was really scary, bad time. And at one point I told her, I was trying to comfort her. And I don't know if this was a good idea or not. I was like, you know what, Jen, he's kind of like a cat and you won't know it's really bad until it's really bad. He's not going to tell you.
She really appreciated that. I remember her telling me after the fact, she giggled and told me. And I was like, oh yeah.
He's like a cat, Jen. Like, they don't want to go to the vet, so they're going to do dumb stuff.
Yeah, but to be fair, none of this was intentional. At no point in this entire line was I like, you know what? Maybe I can tough this out.
He was totally unaware. So I got to the ICU, and then our story kind of picks up together because I walk in, and he's laying there, and he's like kind of half sitting up, and he's all kinds of hooked up, and he's got wires coming out of everywhere.
Yep.
And he's like, oh, hello. And I was like, what? Why are you awake right now? And we were just like, hey. And I was like, hey.
Well, imagine I'm putting like 1,000% of my effort into this interaction, right? Like, because I don't want people to worry. And I'm like, oh, cool, Korean's here. People I can talk to that aren't like, like I didn't want to stress Jen out, so I'm not trying to interact with her at all.
I don't have to like mask. You don't have to mask. And so I was
right. So I was like, oh, let's focus up. Because even when I found out you were coming, I was like, oh no, shit.
Get your shit together.
Come on.
Which is a funny reaction. And so while I'm there, he's talking and he's trying to catch up, but he is nodding out like a lot.
Yep.
And then I would watch him like bring himself back to awareness. Oh, like big eyes. He was like, no
sleep,
never again. And it was because your sleep was not a happy sleep at this point.
I was having forever dreams.
Yeah.
And not just dreams, but like vivid realities. There was no point did it feel like a dream. I've been dreaming my whole life. I know what a dream feels like. These were straight up hallucinations that would happen as soon as my eyes were shut, and they were infinite. They would go on forever. And even if I realized what was happening, I couldn't wake up. It was like it was basically body paralysis. You know what I mean? Like night terrors, but without, or maybe on drugs.
Yeah.
Because there was no like awake. There was no getting out of it. I was stuck in these dreams and I could not wake up.
Yeah.
And it was terrifying.
Well, and that's interesting because at one point I was like, honey, like you probably need to sleep, because I'm watching him like nod out and then come back and nod out and come back, because he's not willing to like actually conk out while I'm there.
God, no.
You stayed awake the whole time I was there. It was amazing. And I was not expecting that either. I was like, you need to go back to sleep. And he was like, I have slept too much sleep. And I was like, it's not really been that long, but okay.
Yeah, but for me, it was a lot of sleep.
Right. Well, and then at one point, we're all sitting there talking and we're doing our thing. And the nurse comes in and she's got this little needle. There we go. It's a happy little plunger here. There we go. And she's like, I brought you some morphine. Yay! Because when I heard morphine, I was like, oh my God, they're not worried about your breathing.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So big yay here for that one. And then they gave him morphine and then he still stayed awake.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, oh, cool. And he got his morphine and he was like, ah, okay. And then at one point you were like, oh, they gave me antibiotics. That must be why I'm awake right now.
Yeah.
And then what were the things you were learning while I was there?
So I didn't know where I was to begin with.
Yep.
I didn't know that I was in the ICU.
He thought he went to urgent care.
Right. I didn't know I went to the ER. Well, because to be fair, the interaction that we had in the ER did not feel like an ER interaction. It felt like an urgent care. Like they were not interested in really helping me, it felt like.
Yeah.
You know, like when someone's actually interested in taking care of you, you can feel that.
Right.
See it.
Instead of being dismissive.
Right. What else was there? I didn't know what was going on with me.
Yep.
I found out in that interaction that I had pneumonia and sepsis.
He still thought that he had a stroke.
Yeah. Because that was the last thing I remember. I remember being in check-in and Jen saying it might be a stroke. And so I clinged onto that. Like my brain was like, okay, bam, that's what we're going to go with. Yep. Until someone tells me different. And nobody told. No. I'm sure they told me like as often as they could.
I'm sure. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to spell the word pneumonia because my dyslexic brain cannot. It can't. It just cannot.
E-U-M. Yeah. You got it.
Yeah. So not at urgent care, not a stroke, definitely pneumonia. And then when he found out he was in the ICU, he was like, excuse me, what?
Yeah, where?
And then he goes, this boy, he just goes, oh, so it's bad.
Well,
we were like, yes.
Part of it too.
Bad.
I think some of that was that that's imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Because you didn't know why you felt so awful, but you were
right.
like, am I allowed to feel this awful?
Right. And all the doctors I had seen up until then were very like, oh no, it's not this, it's him faking it, or oh, he's on drugs, he's overdosing on his other drugs. Yeah. Is there any chance that he could be, they all swore up and down.
Are you sure he's actually your husband?
Right. I didn't know. Even when I heard things, I thought we think it might be.
Yeah.
So even if I was told it was pneumonia, I heard it as, oh, it might be pneumonia, or it could be sepsis. Like it in that conversation we had, I was finding out with like some backing that this was real.
Right.
I also found out that I was telling people I was coughing left and right. And I hadn't coughed once. So I remember I was talking to you and they were like, you keep saying you're coughing. I was like, coughing? I haven't coughed once. What? And she turns around, what?
And
I was like, yeah, no, I haven't coughed at all. And she was like, let me update your chart.
He's a liar.
Because I coughed one time. One time in the night.
One.
But again,
that was all he remembered.
Right.
It's like the only like pieces of reality he could retrieve.
Yeah.
And while I was there, I felt super special because that was the first time you got the time right.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first time you knew what the month was. It was funny because at first you thought it was May.
Yeah. No, I said like, I know it's not May,
yeah.
But May is stuck in my head because of our podcast birthday.
May 3rd is our podcast birthday. So he did get the month right, and then he did get the day right at one point too.
Mm-hmm.
And he got the day, and we were all happy, and we were like, hooray, he's getting better. Yay.
Well, I mean, at one point I couldn't recite words. Like if you told me to say something, I would get it right maybe a fourth of the time.
Yeah.
Like if you said say day, I'd go day, and then you'd say words, and I'd go
like day.
No, it would be like
Oh no.
I know you said to say
Your
something.
poor brain.
I mean, I literally reacted that way a few times where I was
Yeah.
like, I literally can't remember what you just said.
So what all did they find that was like wrong, and all the symptomry coming from like your little beans?
Yeah, no, they had shut down.
They were very sad kidneys.
They were very, very unhappy kidneys. My kidneys had shut down, and they had
were
a
like,
backlog of
no.
medications.
Mm-hmm.
So like that had been going on a while
Whoops.
because at least 2 doses of my medications had backed up.
Yep.
Which is part of why I was reacting the way I was, right? Like why the overdose kind of makes sense. Because I was, in a sense, I was overdosing, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't until we cleared up my kidneys and my infection that they kicked on, and then I processed everything.
Yes. And finally got to like flush it all through.
Yeah. I mean, I was getting blood draws every like 30 minutes to monitor,
They
make sure
poked
everything.
him a lot.
Yeah. Well, and the pharmacist on hand, the guy who's doing my blood work and making sure my kidney function was great and my meds were all on board.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Because he rebalanced everything. He went through and he dialed it in. He's like, we're going to reduce your lisinopril by a little bit. We're going to up this. We're going to take this out completely for now.
Nice.
And so like he reworked everything.
And
I got
so he
fine-tuned.
was, like feeling good afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because the nurse
Oh, the nurse
had
interaction.
like a heart boner for you. It was like whew, she was in love.
Yeah.
To the point where, first of all, she thought we were all like some weird threesome. She thought we were like all poly or something. And then after Chris told them about our podcast birthday, I was like, yeah, we're siblings. And she was like, oh, okay. I thought you guys were like all together or something.
She literally said that.
Yes.
In front of all of us.
Out of her human mouth. And then when I was leaving, she stops me at the nurse's station and had to tell me about how beautiful my brother is, and about your skin was one thing she mentioned, and your eyes. She wanted to steal those. I don't know. I think she was coming for you. And your bone structure. And I just looked at her.
Oh, this is the one that doesn't work. It's the oh no.
He's like, whoop.
Yeah, like side eye that bitch.
Yeah, and your bone structure. She was like, oh, he's just so beautiful. And I was like, yeah, bro, we mixed. And I left. But I didn't tell you because I had to wait until you were like fully conscious.
Yeah.
Before I could explain to you that the nurse wanted to like, I don't know, steal your face. Mm-hmm. She really would have liked for Jen not to have been married to you.
Yes.
And I think there were a few nurses who were still like that too.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just like, why is this man taken? He's beautiful. And it was funny.
There you go. Now you can draw.
There we go. They loved you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least the part that I had seen. So,
yeah,
I left feeling
this
so
is
much
where my
better.
Adventure.
But I had to leave because my face hurt. But I also couldn't like lean on you for support at that point. So I was still like,
Did I get moved that day?
I can't remember. I think maybe you spent a night.
I spent the night in the ICU.
Yeah.
I absolutely
You spent
did.
one night in the ICU and then they moved you out.
Yeah, because the kids came to the ICU the next day.
Yeah.
Which is what it was. Okay.
Yeah.
See, I'm still piecing it together. It's my
a
timeline is weird from what I remember, what I experienced. Like, I don't remember anything from between you and the kids.
That's crazy. You must have slept. I think they probably drugged you enough to like make you go bye-bye.
Oh, for sure. But they weren't the nice dreams. They were the fight for your life dreams.
Ugh. No, thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, the next day happens and then the kids show up, which, you know, was great. I got to see them and they were so sad. They were sweet and sad babies.
Yes.
They're like welting up. They had water eyes. Shad. And I was proud of them for being able to like display that. Mm-hmm. Because like, you know, they weren't like, oh, I don't want to be seen sad. They were sad and they felt like they needed to express it. And I was proud of them.
Yeah.
And Sophie gave me the longest hug. And she was so worried.
Poor baby.
Well, and she didn't get to see Jen at all through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And Bappa was kind of keeping them updated, and she was just...
I'm sure that it was kind of filtered through.
Yeah.
Because I saw Rory, and I don't think he knew it was happening when I saw him,
Mm-hmm.
when I was picking everything up. Because he was just like, doing kid stuff. And he was like, we went and got fun stuff, and I have new toys now. Woohoo! And I was like, yeah, hold on to that energy, kid.
Yeah.
You're gonna need it.
But then, after they visited, it was time. It was not exactly this time. It was
The time.
It was time for the... What do they call it? The hospitalized wing, right?
Yeah, you were in like the general wing. I don't know what they call it.
Gen Pop.
Gen Pop. They put him back in Gen Pop. They were like, he'll make it.
I was just hospitalized
Get
at
him
that point. I
some
wasn't in the
sting
ICU. I was
vinegar.
in like normal care.
Yeah. And they were not super great, but
They
lived.
weren't horrible.
You lived.
Part of it too was that I was dealing with the nightmares.
Yep.
And I was hooked up to a machine. Oh, I hate this machine. The IV machine.
And it just went beep.
Right into my arm. And I had to keep my arm kind of elevated on the bed the whole night. Because it would beep every time my arm wasn't straight. And it kept me awake. And I hated it.
Yep.
But at the same time, it kept me awake. But it just made the night longer. Like, I kept having more and more nightmares instead of one long scary nightmare. It was like
Right.
several thousand small ones
Yeah.
throughout the night.
Oof.
It was bad. And at one point, it pissed me off because I found out that my IV was empty. Like,
He didn't have
the
to
antibiotic was empty. The saline was still dripping. And I could have been resting for the last 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I was butthurt about that.
Yep. Oh, at one point they were worried about staph infection.
Oh,
And that was like, I was holding my breath on that.
yeah.
And that was like 5 p.m. when you got moved. And I was waiting on the cultures and stuff because they were still
Yeah.
finding little buggies in your blood. They were like little squiggly bobs. And they were trying to eat you.
Yeah. I remember
And
hearing
so-
that, I think.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, we're still finding bugs in your blood. I remember that verbatim.
So here's all your blood cells, and then you had all these like little buggies, and they were running around and causing havoc. And they were worried about staph, but I never heard anything back about that. So
No.
thank goodness. And then everybody went to bed. And that was the day after you were hospitalized.
Yep.
Let's see. And Jen was thinking that they were going to keep you for a few more days.
They thought they were going to.
Yeah.
Everybody except for the guy, my pharmacy guy.
Yep.
Thought it was going to be a few days.
So 4:14 at, I don't know, it was like 1:20 p.m. I get the text that they were going to be free.
Oh,
And
man,
I
I
was like,
so happy.
Holy moly. That's crazy and amazing and so exciting. And we're really happy.
Yeah.
So all the happy faces.
I was happy.
He was, a little worried.
I was also very worried. I was sweating. I was like, oh, no. What if I die? Oh, still, because I was still experiencing the weird dreams, the weird feeling.
Yeah.
Like, everything was not as bad, but it hadn't gotten great.
Yep.
But at the same time, they needed the beds. I know that's what it
really
was
how
because on the way out, they're like, man, we're swamped.
Yeah.
They had 24 people that were admitted. They were at capacity, and they still had four admittance, like ER admittances. And that was 1:00 in the afternoon.
And then you got home around, it was like, I don't know, 3:30 or 3:45
Yeah.
or so ish. And then everybody was resting and you
Yeah.
were still pretty sick. And so I didn't come over at that point. We gave it like a day, I think. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think what day was that? Was that Friday? The 14th
Mm-hmm.
was Friday. Yeah.
It's Friday.
So that was Friday. And so we kind of you rested all of Friday. And we talked a little bit on and off, but I knew that you were still recovering. So
Yeah.
we didn't really, really get together until Sunday. And then on Sunday we did our live.
Yeah.
Which was crazy. It was an impromptu live.
We had a lot of people.
Yeah.
I was
Very
out of it,
worried.
but I felt like I needed to do it. Like
Yeah.
I had enough energy to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to update everybody and make sure everything wasn't like
Yeah.
just left in the air. Like we were like, and he might be dead. You don't know.
But at the same time, he was still very like, ugh, get out of here.
Dude, I'm still feeling it.
Conflicted.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was like, I don't know about this. And then also, I'm going to have some feelings, but I don't know what they are yet. Question marks all over the place.
Yeah. I had a lot of that. A lot of
then-
feeling out everything.
And then trying to like process.
Still doing that.
Yeah.
Still processing. Still getting over it.
Yeah.
It's been a week and a half now.
Right.
And I'm still...
Resting. You didn't really like that, but you did it. You did a good job.
I did a great job.
You did a
Not
really
to
good
toot
job
my own horn,
resting.
but I rested. I
Did
took
a
all my
good-
meds right on the dot. Like, I've been all over it.
And now we are here.
Yeah. I feel much better.
Yeah. And there were several jokes that went around because we did talk like very briefly in the ER about the fact that she was like, well, what is your podcast about? And we were like, chronic illnesses. And I just got one more. And
Yeah.
then he goes, and I had to one-up her.
Yeah.
He was like, I had to do her one better. And so here we are. And I was like, yeah. But also thanks for not dying. Good job.
Will you
Good work
draw
on that.
a big heart for me on
Big
your side?
heart. Yeah.
Because I want to say thank you to everybody that was supportive and worried.
Yes.
Just thank you to you
Oh.
for showing up and bringing things, and
Oh, always.
your support helped a lot.
Okay.
Like even like you being there made a big difference, and you saw it. Like I was able to.
I know I didn't want to toot my own horn, but at the same time I was like, that's the best he's been since he's been here.
Yeah.
And it was the first time he got any of the like cog checks right,
Mm-hmm.
which was crazy. And it was great to like get to go and see you because I was worried, and I don't like when we're both worried and scared. That
Yeah, that's not.
is
that's
not a
us.
happy place to
No.
be, because usually somebody's got like we just play the anchor role.
Mm-hmm.
And so somebody's got the anchor, and then nobody had the anchor, and I was like, "Oh my God, we're
You had the
floating
anchor.
away."
You
I
had
had
it. You just
and
weren't ready
I was
for
at
it.
the bottom of the sea with the anchor.
You're like, well, great.
I was just holding it and trying to tread water at the same time.
You did a good job.
Yeah, but we lived, and you lived, and that was good.
Yeah.
Thanks for not dying. This would have been a really weird story time
If I
if
had
I
died.
had to explain. That was a thought that crossed my mind at one point. I was like, if you die, what am I going to tell the podcast?
That thought did occur to me a
How
lot.
am I gonna
It's like, I can't
explain
die.
this? I was like, we have stuff to do, dude. Get back here. No dying. Not allowed.
Yeah.
But it did make me feel a whole hell of a lot better that I got to go and see you, and that you were like more active
Yeah.
and more with it, and that was good.
I mean, overall, I think I handled it well. Like
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
getting back to it.
Yeah.
Like I
I'm
didn't feel
still-
pressured, but I've been doing what I can.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for some of those feels to come about, and I think you are too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot to be processed. There's a lot to just process in general,
Mhm.
because life's been crazy. We had 2 weeks of unbelievable insanity. And
Yeah.
now we're just trying to figure it out now.
Yeah, we got to put the pieces together
Uh-huh.
and see how we are, like who we are
Right.
after all of that.
Which is how we're actually going to welcome you to, you can draw this one. We're welcoming them to season 6.
Season 6.
Because we both kind of came out of this situation feeling a little different, maybe.
Yes.
And so we were like, we got to change something to change with us. And so it is now season 6. The season of what?
Normalize
Ah, yes, to normalize being in,
pain.
yeah. Normalize being in pain. because that's especially relevant for me right now.
Yeah.
Real quick, I need to take my med. I don't know where my bag is, so we're gonna just wait on that one.
Yeah, just
Oh, look, it appeared from nowhere.
Yeah.
Thanks, husband.
we can just sign off. This is our story time.
So yeah, that's the story of the insanityness
Yeah.
and our journey throughout, and how we're gonna be moving forward. But we got some work to do, I think.
Yeah.
But we did good work, and you didn't die. That's the important part.
That's the impressive part.
So-
I don't know how I pulled that off.
I don't think anybody does. They were like, "Oh, sepsis? Oh, you're out of the hospital in the next 3 days? 2 days?
Yeah.
What?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right, my friends. This was really fun, actually,
Mhm.
doing the story
Cathartic.
time this way. Yeah, laying it all out there. So I hope that you have enjoyed learning about the chaos that we went through in the last couple weeks.
mhm.
And I hope you enjoy this video. And we will see you hopefully in the next live. And if not, we'll see you in the next one.
Also, real
Yeah,
quick,
yeah.
if you want to support us, we now have our Patreon ongoing.
Uh-huh.
It's a great way to support us, and if you want extra content, we have tons of extra content over there. We have all of our TikToks and shorts.
Yes.
The extended videos that you guys have been asking for are going up. Mainly, it's the current videos, and I'm trying like hell to find the old ones. So if I
Yeah.
can find full episodes of the old stuff, I'll put it up.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, just putting that out there. If you wanna support, it would help.
But we thank you guys, and yeah, hopefully we can all move forward together and build something better.
Yeah.
Which I think has always been kind of where we're headed. So we are extremely grateful. We love you guys. Thanks for hanging out. Be kind to you, be kind to others, and we will see you in the next one.